Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's what we forgot.
All right, let's do this again. Restart. That's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone, and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. But that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow. We'll never get those 10 minutes again. Never get them
No.
again. It
And the
was
thing
brilliant.
is, it was a genuine, like heartfelt conversation with
Yeah.
big laughs and
Well,
cannot be
no,
duplicated.
that was like the best 10 minutes of Retro Fandango. And I didn't go live. We did it for ourselves.
Oh well. Hey,
Wow.
well,
That's
why not treat ourselves?
well,
No one's
welcome
ever gonna
everyone.
know.
Welcome everyone to episode 223 of Why Are We Doing This? That's what we renamed the show, right? Why are we doing this? Is that what it's called now?
Well, that's what came of the conversation.
The lost 10 minutes. Oh my goodness.
Someday people will interview and say, "What really happened during those 10 minutes?"
I'll tell you what happened. We discovered that Richard does not know how to make a proper cup of tea. I gave him the instructions and the recipe on how to do it, and he said, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to try it." I said, "Forget it. I don't have the
Your
patience."
concept of hot water plus tea bag is too much for me.
Yes, it's it's a lot. I understand. Gordon Ramsay couldn't even follow that recipe.
Hmm.
Well, Richard has promised us some wild stories. Wild
Wild,
stories.
wild
But we're
stories.
not going to get right into it because I've learned that what happens is people join in. Sometimes this happens. People join in a little bit later. Then they start
Mhm.
asking us questions. And it's like, well, we already talked about that 20 minutes ago. So maybe we'll wait a bit and then we'll get to it if other people join in. That's funny. We were even talking to Sauce. I even put up his things. You're late and all this stuff.
I
And
was wondering why he didn't comment after we berated him a little bit.
yeah, it was unusual, but I figured he might have been busy. He does watch this at work, so sometimes maybe he has something to do at that place.
Hmm.
Anyways, well, I got some stuff. If you want me to, we could talk about some movies.
Are
I
you
did.
going to show things? Are you going
I
to hold
do.
things in front of the camera? All
Yeah,
right.
I got a little bit of show and tell.
Okay.
Let me
I
talk.
didn't bring my movies. You can show yours.
Well, let me talk about a couple. Well, yeah, let me talk about a couple movies I watched. Have you ever seen Ronin with Robert De Niro?
I've been curious, but no, I've never seen it.
It's got Robert De Niro, Gene Reno, that's Skarsgård guy. Sean Bean is in it. Jonathan Pryce, now known as the Pope, is in it. Directed by John Frankenheimer. Um, it's okay. it's
Okay-ish action movie.
it's more of a heist kind of thriller, I guess,
Hmm.
actiony thriller. There is an amazing car chase in it. The car chase is really well done, and I would watch that again. But for the rest of the movie, it was just it was okay. It was fine. Um, a little by the books kind of thing, and I don't know. It felt like sometimes it feels like De Niro's phoning it in. Like when he's acting, he's just
Well,
kind of
yeah, he
like
has those movies.
yeah. And this feels like one of them. Like at the beginning of the movie, it felt like he was really phoning it in. Then he kind of got into it a little more. I wonder if like you know like it'd be interesting to see what the shooting schedule was for this movie. If the scenes that he was more into it was earlier on, and the scenes where he's kind of out of it might have been later on in the production.
You
But
have a DVD commentary on that?
uh, feature length audio commentary by John Frankenheimer. I don't think he'd admit anything.
I guess you don't want to trash De Niro, but you could always find some little IMDb trivia bits or something that might give you some insight.
The fun thing about this DVD, it came out in 1997, and this DVD came with an 8-page booklet. Remember when DVDs
Ooh.
would come with booklets with
Yeah,
words?
It was big stuff.
I mean, I remember these things were like, $30 or $40, right? Like 1997, you were spending a lot of money on these. I mean, they would throw a
Good,
few
yeah.
extra things in there. That's pretty cool. But I'll keep it for the car chase and this booklet. I'm sure that if you bought the Blu-ray, you wouldn't get that booklet, so why not?
No, you'd get half a Blu-ray case too. That'd be one of those big recycle cutouts, so you could easily stick your thumb through the.
Well, let's see, because the next movie here I'm going to talk about came out in 2010, no, 15, 2015. So this is a 2015 DVD. This is The Captive with Ryan Reynolds, and let's see what you get in there.
For a second, I thought that was Chris Evans from Snowpiercer.
It kind of looks like him, yeah. It kind of looks like him. At least this does not have the recycled cutouts.
No, sometimes it's just like a little engraving. There's like a half recycled mark or something in there.
It's really thin though. Like that's thin plastic.
Yeah,
I bet you I can't do that.
Cut on those.
I bet you I can't.
I got a Blu-ray of Galaxy Quest not too long ago, and I knew I was getting a used copy, but I ordered it online, and it came and it like the front is totally dented. Somebody squeezed it, messed up the little slip cover.
Oh, damn. What the hell's his name in that movie? The guy from Die Hard. Why am I blanking on his name?
Alan Rickman.
Apparently, Alan Rickman hates, he's not a fan of sci-fi. But when he read the script for Galaxy Quest, he's like, I got to do that movie because it's making fun of sci-fi. And I don't
It's a great role. I was actually going to bring up Galaxy Quest a little bit later on for a different reason.
So, The Captive here, starring Ryan Reynolds. And I just noticed, too, that the person who owned this before me put like a circle there beside Ryan Reynolds' name.
Is that the highlight?
I don't know. Why do you have this movie? Ryan Reynolds, that's why. Or like their pen was running out of ink. And I'll just write on this Ryan Reynolds movie. I don't know. Anyways,
maybe it was used as a prop in someone's YouTube video, and they were like explaining something.
Maybe, who knows?
Could have a little history to it.
So this movie is an Adam McGowan film. It's a Canadian movie, and parts of this movie is shot right here in Sudbury, Ontario.
Out in your yard?
Not exactly in my yard, but. Actually, it's on the south end of town. I'm on the west end of town. So this is shot in the south end on Highway 69. It's not a bad movie. It's actually pretty good. It was a little confusing at first for two reasons. One, it's one of those movies that does not tell you that, or it took me a while to clue in that the scenes were being shown out of sequence. It wasn't in chronological order. So the movie kind of jumps around, and that confused me. And the other thing that confused me is that Ryan Reynolds is driving around in Sudbury, right? He's driving around here. Like you can see the trees and the mountains and everything, or the hills that we have around here. And then his wife is in Niagara Falls. The town of Niagara Falls. That's it's the town that's right around the Horseshoe Falls and all that. And that those falls are about 8 hours, an 8-hour drive from us. And one of the first scenes in the movie, she's on the phone with him, and he's like, "Hey, we gotta take our daughter to some place or whatever." And she's like, "Hey, why don't you come down here? Every time you're up there, you just stay up there. Why don't you come down here?" That's a conversation they're having. And I'm thinking, okay, he's up in Sudbury and she's down in Niagara Falls. They're about 8 hours apart. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until about halfway through the movie, she kept showing up, with Ryan Reynolds. Like, how the hell did she get there so fast? Did she just zip up there? But it was about halfway through the movie where I realized, too, that Sudbury wasn't being Sudbury. It was set up as... it wasn't set up as, but the idea was that he was just on the outskirts of the Niagara town. He was just out on the outskirts, and she was in the town proper. So he was in a suburb kind of thing. And so that was a little, bit of a screwy moment. But you know,
Movie magic. That's what
well,
they
if you
do.
didn't live in Sudbury, you wouldn't know, right? Or if you didn't never been there or didn't know what it looked like, you wouldn't know. You would just assume that okay, they're not too far away from each other. But it was a bit messed up. But anyways, once I got my head around those two things, um, it's a little hokey at times, but it's a pretty decent thriller. I think it's
Okay, I was just gonna ask, like, what? I have no idea what the story is. Some kind
so
of thriller. It's
um
just a shot of him on the cover with
yeah,
the
well, that's all you need.
out in the snow with the beard. It's like, okay, I got it. It's got to be some sort of
Yeah, you can just tell
uh
by the look on his face that this is a thriller. That's it.
yeah, okay.
Basically, his daughter gets kidnapped
Hmm.
and by what do you call it?
Lumberjacks.
Human trafficking
Oh, okay. That
thing,
would have been my next guess.
and it spirals from there. I don't want to give too much away because there's a few plot twists in the film, but it was good. I enjoyed it. And those are the two movies I watched since the 3 weeks we recorded. That was it.
Oh boy.
I
You've
know.
already reminded me of a couple of movies. You said Car Chase with that Ronin, and the last movie I watched was French Connection.
Oh
I
yeah,
haven't seen that since we talked about it way
yeah,
back. Quite an entertaining film.
yes. That's a good car chase in that movie. We were
I
just
did
just
watch. I did watch. Well, actually, I got a few things to talk about here. Well, I was watching some more like classic sci-fi stuff. I saw two movies I had never seen before. The Time Machine from 1960. You
oh,
ever watch that one?
Sarah and I just watched it last year. I think sometime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still kind of fresh in your head.
Yep.
What'd you think?
It's not exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty accurate.
yeah. So he's a scientist in his lab. He creates a time machine, and he goes
He's one of those oldie time British scientists that
right.
sit around in their big fancy mansion and have dinner guests.
And he invents this time machine, and I don't know, maybe we're just because we're used to movies like Back to the Future and Star Trek 4, like they're going to go back in time and fix something or something like that, but it's more of an adventure film where he goes back in time and he's fighting like natives, and there were green monsters or something, or
Yeah, well, you're close. There's a little difference there. He goes to the future. He
oh,
wants to go
that's
to the
right,
future and see what's going on in the future of civilization.
right,
And he finds out that things have gotten worse.
right.
He has this image that I'm going to go to the future. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. And he goes, and then, humans they've reached this weird point where they just don't care, which is fairly
Oh
accurate.
yeah, we're almost there right now.
Yeah. And like, they just have absolutely no sense of companionship. Like someone's in a river and floating away and everyone's just like,
Yeah,
whatever. And then yeah, they're the Morlocks. They're the
right.
monster there, and yeah, it's a little odd because I could never tell like where the story was going. It didn't seem to have like a main thrust of like this is the objective. It's just kind of like, okay, now this is happening. Now this is happening. So yeah, I was a little off put by it. I kind of feel like I need to watch it again and just like really focus. But yeah, I think it might be an example of, well, it's an old story that was created before they had concepts of real like cinematic narrative. And
Yeah,
again, it was made in 1960, so by contemporary standards we expect a little bit, a certain structure
yeah.
to a story,
I
and that wasn't
find
there.
I find with a lot of older movies, 'cause I watch a lot of old movies, and I find I'm starting to find with a lot of older movies that were adapted from famous novels.
Hmm.
Um, the film makers kind of take for granted that most people read the book already. So what they're showing you is imagery from the book. It's basically like you read the book, now come see what it looks like, kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose.
I find that anyways. Like Wizard of Oz is not a great example because that's a pretty solid film. But
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
there was like oh geez, I'm trying to think now. Trying to think, but
Well,
nothing's
yeah,
happening.
the structure has just changed so much over time. I mean, it's not to say that there aren't great movies from the past that do share that structure,
No,
but I think contemporary audiences expect a certain thing from a film, and you expect a certain thing from a book. And some people can't see the difference, and they're always complaining, "Why isn't the movie exactly like the book?" And you know,
well, it's a
it's
different medium. You know,
cinematic language, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I there were things I liked about it. There were other parts that were like just way too much expository dialogue. It's like, yeah, I kind of figured that out. You don't need to stand there and say it for like 2 minutes. But yeah, I was not thrilled with it. Great poster though. Great poster.
oh yeah,
One I did enjoy quite a bit more was Fantastic Voyage, 1966, where they shrink people down and they send them into the human
a
body
human. I
to.
loved that movie when I was a kid.
What was the blockage? Someone had gotten shot. There's this. They set it up where there's this big conflict between like nations, and then this one person who's of vital importance gets shot by the enemy, and he's carrying the secrets. Oh, that's what he's carrying. He's carrying the secret of how to extend uh, the shrinking process. Yes, Ryan, just like the Magic School Bus. I actually get that reference.
I think I know of the show, but I've never seen it. So I was like
From what I remember,
Lily Tomlin drives school
yeah, yeah,
kids
yeah,
around like a
in a
scientist or
Magic
something.
School Bus, and I think it was based on a series of kids' books.
Oh, okay.
And then the bus will change, and often they shrink and go into things, which is
It's more like
fantastic. Which
inner
is why,
space.
well, that is Inner Space was directly inspired by
Sure.
this. They actually use the phrase inner space to describe like the inside of the human
Oh,
being. They're not going to outer space, they're going to inner
inner
space.
space.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I love that concept of when people shrink down and then have to go on some sort of adventure. Unfortunately, there don't seem to be a ton of films that deal with that subject. I think I've seen all the big ones now. Of course, there's Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. There's Ant-Man. It's not too much more. The Incredible Shrinking Man. There's a terrible one that Matt Damon did a few years ago.
Oh, did you see that? You watched that?
Yeah, it's
Oh my goodness.
garbage. I was like, oh, shrinking down. I want to see people interacting with oversized objects,
Right,
and
right.
I think in that whole movie, there's only one.
Well, what was the point of that movie? They were the world was overpopulated, so they shrunk
World
people
was
down.
overpopulated, and people realizing with the money that we have, we can't really afford much. But if you shrink yourself down, your income could buy this amazing dollhouse that is like a mansion when you're shrunk. And then you don't have to worry about anything. Your food costs, everything goes down because you are physically smaller, so you're consuming less, so there's just
Right.
more of everything. And then it very quickly just becomes about class structure, and like even though you're a millionaire here, people still have to clean the toilets, that sort of thing. And some kind of revolution. It was garbage.
Sounds great.
It was garbage. All I knew was like, oh, movie people shrink down. I'm in. No, it was bad. Um, not classic sci-fi, but a sci-fi that I forgot how good it was. I'd only seen this once before, and I finally rewatched it. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy from 2005, starring Alan Rickman. Just gonna bring him up.
That's right.
Uh, Um, Boy, that's a really good movie.
Is
That is
it?
fantastic. It is. It's really well done. I mean, I've never read the books. When I was a kid, I would see the books in the store. They'd often be displayed like their own little like, hey, here's the Hitchhiker books. And for whatever reason, as a kid, I didn't know that it was a story. When I saw the title, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I thought it was like a textbook.
Yeah.
So I thought like, okay, yeah, planets and stuff are cool, but I don't want to read about the moons of Jupiter or anything. So I never looked into it, and then I found out it was this complete satire. It's great. I really enjoyed it. It's got Sam Rockwell in it, who I didn't realize, again, Galaxy Quest. He had done so many
That's right.
space movies,
Yeah.
Moon and Galaxy Quest, Hitchhiker's Guide. He's fantastic in it. You got Alan Rickman, who is voicing the robot. I forget his
Yep.
name. Who is physically played by Warwick Davis.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really fun and great effects. In 2005, they were still allowed to use some practical effects, so they got these big puppet suits and everything for some of the characters. The Vogan, the aliens that lack all imagination and creative thought, but they just run everything. There's just so much fun stuff going on in there.
I read the books. The first 3 were quite good. I recommend it to anyone. They're written by Douglas Adams, who was a writer for Doctor Who as well.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, yeah. But no, they're funny books. They have that kind of Monty Python British sense of humor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen the movie because I heard the movie wasn't that great.
Maybe if you're talking to the fans of the books who are like, oh, how come they didn't include this? How come they didn't include that? Again, cinematic adaptation.
Yeah.
You got to take what you can get.
Yeah.
I think the movie is very well done. Again, I've not read the books, but as a film, it tells a full, complete story. All of the characters are interesting. It moves at a good pace. Wonderful visuals. Maybe it's missing stuff from the book. I don't know, but as a standalone film, it's very good.
Well, I was disappointed to hear that it wasn't, like, from other people, that it wasn't very good, because it stars the guy who was the lead in the British version of The Office. I can't remember his name.
Martin Freeman?
That's it, yeah. And I had just finished watching The Office, and then that movie was coming out, and I was really rooting for him. And then I don't know, just heard the movie wasn't very good, so I didn't bother to watch it. And then Martin, he's, I don't know, he's done a bunch of movies that I just don't care to see.
The Hobbit?
Yeah, I don't care to see any of those.
No, I think that movie is definitely worth a watch.
I mean, Hobbit movies might be great. They're probably fantastic. I'm not interested.
They're not great. They're long and they're bloated. I did finally watch those a few months back, and I mean, it's good filmmaking. It's just way too long, and there's some narrative points that don't work. But
like, I want to say that the Red Letter Media guys are pretty down on those movies, but people like Bill would just blow a gasket if I was to say that, so I won't say it.
I don't know. They're fine, but I mean, you're not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan of those movies, right?
No.
So yeah, I mean, it is a step down from those. So if you're not interested in that, then you probably shouldn't waste your time on that. But you should watch Hitchhiker's Guide.
By the way, you were talking about Gene Hackman, and my father-in-law and I yesterday actually was just talking about Gene Hackman, because we both agree that he is on the underrated side as a comedic actor, because the movie The Royal Tannenbaums was on, and he's quite good in that movie. I have to watch the whole thing once again, but he's quite good in that movie. But the other 2 movies that he's really good in, of course, he's got that small part in Young Frankenstein, which he's not even credited. But that, to me, I think that is the best scene in the movie. It's a
standout scene
that doesn't have Gene Wilder in it, if that makes any sense. But his other great comedic performance is in Get Shorty. He's quite funny in that movie.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh,
I do have a copy.
I rewatched that movie a few months ago. I love that movie, and he is quite funny in it. He's underrated as a comedic
Absolutely. I
actor.
mean, even as Lex Luthor in the Superman movies,
That's
he's
right.
got
Yeah,
quite a few humorous quips and moments, and
that's
just
true.
there's he sends the missiles out at the end. You
Yeah.
know, he sends one up to California, one to Hackensack, New Jersey, and his the female character, I forget her name, but she's like, "My mother lives in Hackensack." He just looks at his watch, like,
Yeah.
no.
No, no. Yeah, no, he was quite funny in those movies. That's right. I forgot about those.
Oh yeah, I mean, even in the French Connection, and it's a serious film, but there are a couple of moments you see he's like excited and kind of young. The whole thing about you pick your feet, you know, that
Yeah.
it's all meant for humor.
Let's see here. Sloth says he liked the first Hobbit movies, the third not so much. Should have
The
been
third one just
one,
has
maybe two
like
movies.
I'm gonna spoil one thing for you. There's one of the not hobbits, dwarves. It's these group of dwarves, and they're all trying to retake this area, this mountain that belongs to them. And the one guy who is going to become the new king, he kind of goes mad from
Oh, the
all the
Mad King.
treasure and gold. Yeah, he's
But
just like
they
he's
refer to
not,
him in the Lord of the Rings, right? The Mad King. Or no, I'm
I
thinking of.
guess.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Game of Thrones. Never mind.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't read any of those books. So he goes mad and he's just kind of obsessed with the gold. And then he just, okay, I'm not obsessed anymore. It doesn't feel like anything happens. He just has this moment where he thinks he's being drowned in gold, and it's like, it's not really that clear.
Well, my understanding with those films is like The Hobbit is a fairly short book. I think it's only 300 pages,
That's the common thing that I hear, but again, I haven't read them yet.
and with those movies to pad them out to make another trilogy, they pulled from like
They
the
supplemented with a lot of other
yeah
Tolkien works and threw in this and that. I don't know which part is which, but
they
it does feel like the Martin Freeman character, the Hobbit, Bilbo, is that him? Which
that
one is Frodo? Is
is
Elijah
Lord.
Wood?
Yeah, yeah,
Bilbo is that one? Okay.
yeah.
He just kind of gets lost in the movie. It's supposed to be about him and his adventure, everything from his perspective as
The Hobbit. The
the
movie's called The
unlikely,
Hobbit.
yeah.
Yeah,
But then it gets so involved with the wizards and the elves and this and that and everything. It's like, eh.
yeah.
I mean, you will see some very pretty visuals. You'll see some entertaining action scenes. You'll have some good costumes and all that stuff. But ultimately, just the story is like doesn't stay on track.
And did they shoot that first movie at 60 frames per second? And they were saying it looked like like a soap opera. Kind of gave it a soap opera effect.
I think it's only certain versions, like
Oh,
if you
okay.
want to see that version or the other version. But I think that was just they did a couple of movies like that for a while, and it's the same as watching videos at like 1.5 speed. It's like don't mess with the formula. It works.
Smaug is in the book.
That's the dragon, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's what I know of the Hobbit is he finds the ring,
yeah.
they go to do something with a dragon, and the end. I don't know.
As a book, I enjoyed The Hobbit. I thought it was great, but it was written for kids, right? So maybe that's why I thought it was great. But the Lord of the Rings themselves, I read them once, and I'm like, I'm struggling here with a lot of this, but
I've
I
heard that
powered through.
it's a lot of technical stuff, a lot of like this latitude, this longitude, this place on the map, and we're going to this, and then some
Sort of.
history of place, and
There is a map on the, in the books. They do provide maps because there is a lot of world building and whatnot. The thing that threw me off was like I read the first book and then I went to see the first movie. And there was a bunch of stuff that was in the movie that I don't remember any of this in the book. And it turns out that it was stuff that he had added later on in the third book as an
mhm.
appendices because he kind of like, oh, I guess I should have done this and I should have done that. So he just threw it in as an
Mm.
appendices in
So
the
it's a
third
special
book.
edition.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
You can't
Like
blame just George Lucas.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if he what do they call it? Retcon anything?
Retcon.
I don't know if he did that, but it was just stuff that he added. Like there was this love story between uh I forget the names of the characters, but in the movies it was Liv Tyler and is it Viggo Mortensen? Who's the guy?
He's Strider,
Strider,
Aragon,
right. Yeah, he
Aragorn,
had. By the
Aragon.
way, in the book, he's got about 12 names, so that's hard to keep track of because, I mean, it makes sense in a like a medieval setting, fantasy world setting, because he would be known as different things in different towns because the towns didn't really talk to each other, right? They were like, so he's an adventurer. Over here,
Oh,
he's
so
known as
like they
this.
have
Over
their
there,
own name for him.
yeah, try to follow
Okay.
along with that in a book. Like, come on, Tolkien, give me a little bit of structure here. You know, I'm
Yeah.
just an average reader here. Anyway, some people love that attention to detail. Some people just want a simple story to follow.
Yeah, I'll just you mentioned The Hobbit is a children's book, a kid's book. I find a lot of books are labeled like that, but all it means is it's not really a kid's book. It's just a creative, imaginative book, which is
Well,
things like Alice in Wonderland and The Never-Ending Story. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily books only for kids. They're just full of imagination.
well, he the way I understood it is he wrote The Hobbit for his kids when they were kids, and when they got
Hmm.
older, he wrote The Lord of the Rings for his older, like teenage kids.
I suppose.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Sure. I did
Uh,
watch something else of note.
okay, noted.
I'll bring it up because it is a Canadian production.
Ah,
Two, technically.
two.
Yes, and I was actually watching some of this on Canada Day.
Oh, very good.
Yes. I revisited the 1994 RoboCop TV series that your fine country produced.
Yeah.
um, Not very good.
No, it's
No,
not.
I've only seen RoboCop 3 once, and that was terrible. This
Yeah,
might have been worse.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I only watched the pilot episode because I was in the shop and I came across a DVD and it said RoboCop: The Future of Law Enforcement. I
Mm.
was like, I already got so many copies of RoboCop. I don't need to buy this. And then I was like, wait a minute. This looks different. The RoboCop on this cover doesn't look quite right. This isn't any of the proper Paul Verhoeven imagery.
No sauce. This is not the
No, not the
cartoon.
cartoon.
There was
I
a live
have
action.
peeked at the cartoon. You know, there were two cartoons actually.
Were there?
There's RoboCop, which is uh, it sets it up. Just it even talks about how he was gunned down in the intro and everything. And that follows, I believe, a little bit closer to the movie style. I mean, obviously not violent and stuff, toned down for kids. And then there was RoboCop Alpha Commando, where he's more like an Inspector Gadget RoboCop, where he's got tons of like.
Oh, gadgets.
I
Oh,
remember
okay.
like he's got like a drink dispenser or something in one arm.
Oh, I thought he was bumbling. Like I'm always on duty.
And probably not too far off. So I watched the pilot episode, which is like boils down to like a 90-minute or 2 hour thing or something. It was terrible. There's this thing of like a woman who gets killed and she becomes like a computer program and she can appear to RoboCop, kind of like the what's the Halo thing? Master Chief has
Oh
that
yeah,
the lady in his shoulder or
Cortana.
something. Cortana, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. And then there's a kid, there's like a spunky kid who's all streetwise, who's like, you guys got to send the SWAT team. I saw something going on down by the docks. And it's terrible.
Sounds
And
great to me.
it's so bad. The thing is, it was actually uh, spearheaded by the original writers, Ed Neumeyer and Michael Miner. they adapted it for TV, and it wow,
Mm.
it came off really bad.
Mm.
But I also watched the 6 years later, in the year 2000, they did it again. You Canadians put together another RoboCop TV show called the RoboCop Prime Directives, and it
Okay.
was just 4 episodes. They were like feature length. They were 90-minute episodes
Mm.
that aired apparently on Canadian television, even though there's a little bit of cussing and I believe one case of topless females.
Yeah, we allow that on our cable channels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, this was actually not that bad.
Oh,
In
really?
fact, I would say it might even be better than RoboCop 2
Wow.
as a whole. RoboCop 2's got some great moments. It also has some very bad
Yeah.
moments. And that is a mixed bag. But
RoboCop 2 is the one with the kid who's
the
thing.
kid, the
Okay.
nuke, the drug, and then there's the really
Nuke.
cool RoboCop
Oh,
2 robot.
forgot about Nuke. Yeah.
There are some great moments. There's a great moment in there where there's like a hostage at the beginning, and RoboCop's trying to talk the guy down. He's
Yes.
basically just playing with them. He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it." And RoboCop's like, "Oh, we don't want that, do we?" And
I
he's angling his shot so he can
I know
ricochet a
people
bullet into his
who
head.
tell me that RoboCop 2 is their favorite RoboCop movie.
No.
They
There
and
are some good moments. There are some really brilliant moments,
I'm
but
just telling you what
no.
they said. I don't believe it.
RoboCop, there's a point in the movie where they like you don't see RoboCop for like half an hour.
In
Like they
RoboCop 2?
focus on everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like his character, he just disappears from the movie. RoboCop 2 is an okay time if you're in the right mood for it and you
Sauce,
understand that it has some big weaknesses.
Sauce disagrees. He says it's a good time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Then if you think that's a good time, you should check out the Prime Directives.
Yeah,
It's
it sounds
awesome.
like you'll like it
It's
more
very
than
good.
RoboCop 2.
And I'll give you a spoiler just to get people to actually consider it. There's not only one RoboCop.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's pretty interesting. It's also extremely cheap and looks like garbage at times. The acting is terrible. Some of the effects are terrible. The guy in the suit doesn't walk like Peter Weller. He's just like Machine Man.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, that's
there are.
Sorry, I was just going to say that's a logical place to go. But I suppose the second movie did touch on that because if you think about it, RoboCop Detroit was like, almost what do they call it? Future. What's that called when the future is not looking good? What's that called?
When the future's not looking good.
Anyways, it was a Detroit that wasn't in good shape. So they bring in RoboCop, and he basically cleans up the town, right? He kind of like brings Detroit back. So logically, like the next step in the RoboCop story would be the company would try to make more RoboCops. And they kind of do that in the second movie.
Well, the thing in the second movie is that he was too violent, and they were trying to tone down his image, make him nicer. They programmed to be nice, which is a fun part of the movie. But things don't go well, and then they veer off into the whole Nuke and Kane, the giant RoboCop 2 and everything. And it's hitting them out of the park in 1 minute, and then it's just foul in the next minute. I don't know. But the Prime Directives, I'll give you a few spoilers. It's like 10 years after RoboCop became RoboCop, and he's considered like old tech now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not really producing a lot of the technology that's used to
was he
run
Y2K compliant?
No, I don't think
They don't touch on the Y2K?
Oh. No, but basically it's moving on. You get a lot of the OCP. They want to make changes. There's like the up and coming executives, so they're redoing all of that. The sets are terrible sometimes. Sometimes you get people in the black void that are just,
Oh
they're
yeah,
sitting at a desk and, I'm in an office,
yeah.
but you can't see
And
anything
it's like, why is it
behind
so
me.
dark in here? Turn a light on.
Right. So it's going on into the future. It takes the tone a little bit closer to the movies where there's some violence and stuff. There's some over the top villains. Sometimes it plays off like a Hercules and Xena esque like action show. Some of the elements are pretty interesting. Some of them are not handled properly. Um, it's not terrible. It again, the original RoboCop, can't touch it. Everything that comes after, I'd say 2 and this Prime Directive as a whole are kind of in the same level, which is already a significant drop down from the original RoboCop.
All right. So if you find that 2000s RoboCop, Steven
Yes,
Eider's looking for it right now, trying to find it.
it's not terrible. Like you'll watch it and you're like, okay, this part is terrible, but that was interesting. And I like the way it ends. It ends on a moment where it seems like they were setting up for another installment that never happened. The media breaks they nail. I think they get the sense of humor
Oh,
perfect.
that's cool. They brought
There's
that
a lot
back.
of media breaks in
Okay.
there and a lot of commercials, and I think they straight out of the Verhoeven film. They're great. There's like little ticker tape, stuff going on. So you'll have the person saying something, but at the same time, you're trying to read all the little jokes in the ticker tape thing. Uh,
Nice.
those parts, A plus.
Cool.
Okay, that's it for all my watchings.
All right. I'm just gonna quickly go through these things that I purchased, and then we'll get to your wild stories.
Ooh,
So, was that yesterday or the day before yesterday? I went out thrifting with my pal, my buddy Frank,
the
and
legendary Frank.
legendary Frank. Well, the reason why I wanted to go out thrifting is because I was looking for a camera, and I had a
Hmm.
camera in mind that I really want to get. It's an entry level camera. And the reason why I wanted to get a camera is because I'm going to these concerts, these rock shows, and
Hmm.
my phone isn't just it's not cutting it. It's not. I can't. I needed something just a little bit more. So I told Sarah, if I find this camera, the specific camera that I'm looking for a certain price,
Hmm.
I'm going to buy it. So of course I find it in the thrift stores. It was a little bit more than the price I had in mind, but I calculated the odds of me finding this camera again, and I didn't think it was going to be very good. So I ended up buying it. So I got myself one of these
Hey,
fancy cameras.
that looks like a camera.
It is a camera, but it's digital.
Right.
It doesn't have film, but it's like an old school film camera.
All right. Well, can you even buy? Well, I'm guessing the answer is yes, but the percentage of actual film cameras these days compared to digital cameras has got to be pretty low.
Yeah, I don't know if you can buy a new film camera. They definitely had old film cameras at the one. It was actually a Hawk shop that I went to, the Hawk
Hmm.
Exchange, um, and they did have film cameras there. But the thing with film is, I mean, it's a real pain in the ass. you
Well,
know?
most people don't want to mess around with it, but I imagine there are still a lot of purists. I mean, some movies are still shot on film. You
Yeah,
got to be able to. I'm sure they haven't stopped producing film. It's
yeah.
just not in demand.
Well, I'm not that much of an enthusiast. I just wanted a little better camera to take photos with. And the one weird thing that my phone has been doing too is like when I would go to take a photo, it would click, like it would make the click animation and all that,
Yep.
and then it would take the photo like a second later. It was kind of weird. So I'd frame something up, take a photo of it, and then someone would be talking to me or something. So I turn, and then so the photo would be like a blur of me turning
Oh, well,
instead
sometimes
of
you get that. You get like a little delayed
yeah.
shutter.
It was I think it's a setting or something like that I have, but it would click like it had taken the photo. And most of the time, I'm conscious, I'm aware of it, right? So I'll wait, especially if I'm if it's something that's static, I'll just wait. But if it's something moving, you're gonna miss whatever it is you're trying to shoot. Anyways, once in a while it'll catch you though. Like I found something. I'll tell you. I'll just show you right here. I found at another thrift store. So there's this series that was on HBO. It's called In Treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So I found season 1.
Who is that on the cover?
That's Gabriel Byrne.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Bill Pullman.
I guess it kind of looks like him. So I got season 1, season 2, still sealed.
Ooh, fancy.
And season 3.
I have never heard of this show. What is it about?
So he is like a psychiatrist, something like that. And these people all have addictions to things. They're all suffering from different addictions. It's a very odd show for HBO because they're all half-hour episodes. And like the first season alone has, see how many episodes that has there? What does that say?
43 episodes on 9 discs.
43 episodes of an HBO show in one season.
Hour long?
Half hour. But still, that's like HBO is usually 13 episodes, and then we're done. See you next year, kind of thing. So it's I don't know. I've never watched it. Sarah has watched I think she said she's watched the first 2 seasons before. Anyways, I found these. I wasn't sure if she wanted them. So I, set them all down on the table and I took a photo of them. And, then Frank was talking to me. So I turned and then it snapped and it only took like a photo of the 2 of them. So she only saw season 2 and 3. And she's like, "Is season 1 there?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's in the photo." And then I look at the photo, it's not there. So I had to take it a second time. Anyways, so I got this camera.
Nice.
And
so what's the big deal about this camera? Why did you choose this one?
Oh, this is it's basically what do they call it, an introduction, beginners kind of camera.
Okay.
And it's got very basic settings on there. So basically, it has a full automatic setting on there. Well, it'll do everything for you automatically. So if you just want to take photos, not have to think about f-stops or zooming in or whatever it is, all you got to do is frame it up, hit the button, the camera will do everything for you. And then once you start to progress from that, you have programmable mode where you can program more things in it. It also has basic settings for like landscape shots, close-up shots, portraits. If you're doing sports, like you got a sports setting, and it'll take like several shots all at once to try to catch the action, kind of thing. There's a setting on here for food. You can just shoot like food.
Oh boy, what an Instagrammer's camera!
And
you'll be shooting some TikToks.
And you can shoot video with it as well. I guess you could shoot TikToks with it as well if you wanted to. But basically that's why I got it, because it is got very easy like settings and stuff like that. But I've been keeping it on program, and I've been like messing around with my own settings and the exposure and stuff like that, and I've been having a good time with it. So I'm doing my own focusing. I don't have it on autofocus. I do my own. So
like you're from the 1970s or something.
Well, I found that the autofocus, like I was trying to take photos of bees, right? And so the autofocus is constantly trying to, like, bees are moving all over. Yeah, like it rained all day here yesterday. So the flowers really like came out today, like they were all open and blooming. So I went out and walked in the back, and all the bees were out there just having a feast. They were going to town. So to try to have the autofocus focus on the bees, it's going crazy because the bees are moving all over the place, right? So you set it manually and say, that's where the bee is. And then the camera will take the photo. But yeah, I've been having fun with that. It's good times.
Well, I wish I had your camera because I had an encounter with wilderness. These are my wild stories.
Are we going into the wild stories? We better get to it, right?
Better, because
All
we're
right.
going to run out of time.
All right.
I don't know where to start because I've got two stories, and one of them is a good story, and one of them is a story you're not going to want to hear. I don't know which one to go for.
Oh boy, I save the one that I don't want to hear for last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the good story, the positive story, the wilderness story, where I really wish I had your camera, is last week. I had some people in here, and as we were going outside, as a matter of fact, the person who went outside first, she had a camera with her, and she was able to snap a photo of an animal that was suddenly outside the house. We were like, "Whoa, what did you see? What was that?" And she saw badger. I was like, "Well, badger? We don't have badgers around here." She's like, "Yeah, I just saw a badger. You know, with the long nose and the white
Yeah.
stripe and all that.
Like a
Do you
honey
have
badger?
badgers?" Well, a Japanese badger.
Okay.
But I was like, "Get out of here! There's no badger." And running outside of this house, there's a little water runoff, like a drainage ditch, like real small, and it's mostly full of dirt. Like it's not effective as a drainage ditch anymore. It's just over the years, it's just been full of rocks and dirt and everything. But occasionally, I would notice that something had been digging in one of those. And there are a lot of cats around here, and sometimes I've seen them poke their noses in there. So I always assumed it was them kind of messing around. Or occasionally we do get the tanuki, which are like raccoons
Yep.
in Japan. And I was like, "Oh no, is it one of? Are they living down there? Because those things are kind of skeezy, and sometimes I see them like stealing cat food at night. They're
Mm.
pretty creepy looking." But no, and we looked in, and there was the nose of a badger, like sitting there in the drainage ditch, and there were a couple of us, or like 4 or 5 people standing around, and the thing wasn't running. It was just like kind of in there, staying away, but not moving back. So we're all looking at it, like, "Oh, little badger guy. Okay, maybe he'll come out someday." And a little time goes by, nothing much, nothing much. And then just last night, I was coming over here, and again, I saw something. The way it's set up is this place is a few houses over from my house, and then in between there is my mother-in-law's house, and she usually leaves a little dish of cat food out because the cats like run around and everything. But at night, some creatures will come and steal that food, the tanuki and stuff. So I was walking out and I saw two things, two big furry things, run away from the house and run into the bushes. And then I was like, "Oh, good, those tanuki are gone." And then they started running back towards here. I was like, "Wait, what's going on?" Those aren't tanuki. They have short tails and they're real squishy and round looking. So it was two badgers that had run out and were trying to go down into that thing. But they weren't as skittish as I expected them to be. They just kind of hung around. And I was like, "Okay, I'm wearing shorts. I don't want to get bit. I got to get by, and these things aren't moving." So eventually they did run in and hide into that little burrow there. And that's the last I saw of them. So
Hmm.
apparently there's a couple of badgers that I might run across going in and out of this place.
I hear that they're pretty nasty.
I would imagine so. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to get close to it.
No.
I do just want to like pick them up and squeeze them though. They look so cuddly and
I
squishy.
don't. I don't think you want
But
to.
yeah, because I mean, last night when I saw them, some of the cats came out and they're like getting in their faces and hissing at them. Like, "Stop! I don't want to
Yeah.
like a wild animal fight here."
Oh no.
But I don't know. A couple badgers living down there, so I just have to be careful that I don't stumble across them at the wrong time.
Yeah. Well, they say that like the wild animals, they become more used to humans. That's why they come out more now because they know that. I guess they're not going to bother. They're just not scared of us like they used to be.
Yeah, if you
Like,
don't actively, pursue them, try to catch them, and there's a food source nearby,
oh yeah.
they just feel like, "Oh, We're gonna live here too.
I don't
Just
know if
like
you.
Josie Wales and the Comanche said, "You're gonna live here. I give you life, and you give me life." Remember that scene with 10 bears?
Vaguely. It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
It's a really good scene.
The heck was I going to say? Oh, I don't know if you saw, but the video that I posted a couple of weeks ago, where we ran into, yeah, you did because you made a smart ass comment on it. The deer that were on the road.
Yes.
And you notice that mother deer, it was we spotted a deer. It was crossing the road, and there are two baby deer, kids. Are they kids? I can't or full. I don't know.
Colts.
Anyway, the two young deer were crossing the road with her, but the mom, walked on the road, got to the yellow line in the middle of the road, stopped, looked both ways, and then carried on.
Yeah.
Like she knew what she was doing. This is a wild deer. Like they learned this stuff.
But they've been modernized.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
They've
it's like
adapted to their surroundings.
And this is a deer in northern Ontario. It's not like as if it's in, Manhattan or something like that, and dealing drugs on the corner.
It's not far-fetched. I mean, deer know to watch out for predators, and to them, a car is essentially a predator.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. But I'm just saying that's how accustomed they are becoming to humans. And
domesticated in a sense.
Okay, now what's the story I don't want to hear?
The nasty.
What happened?
Well, same situation outside this house. There's a small wooden deck, and it's the season now where I got to start cutting the grass again. So occasionally there's some little foliage that grows under there. I can go in and with a weed whacker and cut it all out. So I was doing that a few weeks back, and I noticed something under the deck that looked like a lump of something. I couldn't tell, but it was covered with flies.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh no. This is before I knew about the badgers, but I was well aware that we had other wildlife around here, little predators that come out at night, and sometimes they get stuff. And I saw what appeared to be a pile of innards spilled out with flies all over them. So I was like, oh no, I don't want to deal with this. And I got a little closer, and I realized it was not a pile of innards, but it was a huge pile of feces. Have you ever heard of a raccoon latrine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we don't have raccoons around here, but the aforementioned tanuki do share the same practice, apparently. We've had them around here for a while, but some point a few weeks back or so, they decided underneath my deck is going to be their new latrine. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, they choose a spot to defecate, and then that's their spot for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this, I guess in some areas, North America, it commonly happens in people's attics and stuff, or in like a garage, or raccoons find a spot, and they're like, yep, here we go. Party's on. So that happened under the deck, and I had to do the full get up. I put on a couple of masks, got some big gloves, got a shovel, scooped it out. There's a hill up here, walked all the way up the hill with my big boots and everything, dumped it, came back down, did it again. It took me about, 10 trips to get rid of it all, because there was like a big pile, and it never quite stays on the shovel. You drop a little bit. So
you don't have a wheelbarrow?
I didn't want to put that in anything else, because I read up on it afterwards, and apparently there's like there's something that's in their
Yeah.
poo
Yeah.
that is extreme, some kind of worm
Yeah.
eggs or something that's
Yeah.
extremely dangerous, and you don't want to. If you accidentally ingest it somehow, it causes serious problems in
Well, even
people.
breathing
So
it in too. Like it's
yeah,
not.
so
Yeah.
they were saying, the best thing to do is burn it or bury it, something like that. So I had thrown it up on top of the hill. I was like, oh gosh, should I have bagged this up and everything? So I scooped out like a lot of extra dirt too that was
Yeah.
just under it and got rid of it all. And then we went to the store and bought, I forget what it's called, but we bought something that smelt terrible. It was just this substance. I don't know what it was originally designed for, some sort of cleanser that smells like old school medical cleaner. Like if you imagine being in a hospital when you're a kid, that scent of disinfectant. So it's like I had to wear the gloves and everything. You don't want to get it on your skin. Like you'd have to dilute it in order to actually properly use it to wash and stuff. And I just filled the little tray with that stuff and left it under there. And it smells like smoked cheese and disinfectant and everything. It's terrible. But it totally effective
Good.
because initially I had scooped it out, put everything away, and I asked my wife, like, if you're going out, can you find something that stinks, like coffee beans, anything strong that'll keep them away. And then and then she went out, and I was like, I came back over here, and like something had already pooped in the same spot again. So I called her up. I was like, you got to bring something right now because they're already coming back. It's been
Oh
like
God.
10 minutes. So we got this nasty stuff, poured a tray of it and left it under there. Totally worked. Nothing came back. They
Good.
moved on to a different area. It's like, oh, that was just a disgusting sight. Like I've never seen that much animal poop outside of like a zoo or something. Certainly never had to handle it.
That is gross.
Yeah.
I at our old house in Stouffville, the fence there was the fence at the back of our house
Mhm.
that was shared with the neighbors on the other side. The raccoons one year decided that was going to be their toilet, right on top of the fence. Hey, it came right in time for raccoon latrine talk.
Nice.
Deke, good timing.
You were
Uh,
right. We had to save this story for the
yeah.
right time.
Yeah, so they decided to use that like and you'd go and
Hmm.
you'd look out and you're like, oh, my backyard serenity now, and then you'd look over at the
Hmm.
fence and there'd be just pile of turds, raccoon turds, right on the
Hmm.
fence, and you're like, why there, why
Yeah.
there, like it was only like a 2x4 fence kind
Hmm.
of thing. So eventually that fence was getting old, and it was replaced. The neighbors on the other side decided to replace it. We threw them a few bucks. And they did it, which was great because now the raccoons stopped using that as a latrine.
Hmm.
But then they decided to move their latrine to the honey locust that was right beside my house and
Mm.
like branching over my house. And there was a part where like all the big branches would come together, and right in there, that was their latrine for some reason up in a tree.
Mm.
So that was about a year before we moved, and we decided to cut that tree down. And there was a raccoon. The guy who came to cut the tree, there was a raccoon in it, and I'm like, yeah, they just this is the place where they take a dump now. He took a board from underneath my gazebo,
Hmm.
and because he was quite a ways up, and he just gave the raccoon a whack,
Really?
like just, "Argh!" And the raccoon holding on, didn't even move, didn't even move. It's like, so then he took it and he started poking him with it,
Oh, gosh.
and then okay, well, I slowly like move his way up to another branch where he couldn't hit him with the stick.
Hmm.
Like, just didn't care, lethargic. Who cares? Hey, this is my
Stubborn
toilet.
animals. Oh,
Just didn't care.
I don't know. That is one weird habit. I never knew about that before.
Yeah, yeah. And thankfully here we've had beavers, squirrels, chickmunks, rabbits,
Hmm.
robins, some weird bird that keeps trying to hit the window because he thinks he sees another bird in it. Um, but no raccoons so far.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, because I can't stand those things.
I never really had them where I grew up. I grew up in the city. They were around. You'd see them like on some rooftops once in a while. You just see their eyes in the
Yeah,
dark.
yeah,
We would get the occasional possum that would come through the yard. My dog would go nuts just barking at the thing
yeah.
because they freeze. So it's constantly barking. This thing's not moving. You gotta go drag her in.
Leave some food out. You'll find some raccoons, or they'll find
Yeah.
you.
Well, we do have the equivalent. We have plenty of critters. Apparently, we have weasels around here. We got the badgers now, the tanuki. Summertime, got to watch out for snakes. There's tons of wildlife.
Okay, I still have a few more movies to show you if you'd like.
Okay, go for it.
Let me just show you what I bought Sarah. I bought her a couple of movies here. This
Grease.
Brian Ferry.
Who?
He's a musician, 70s, 80s. He was with Roxy Music and also had a solo career. Had some hits. She's a big fan. Anyways, I saw that there and I grabbed it for her. Well, I asked her if she wanted it. But again, this is a Blu-ray. Nice big book in there.
Whoa, that is uncommon.
That is like a lot of pages with photos and stuff. So that's a pretty good collector's item, I think. Pretty good. And then I found her. She watches. We figured this out the other day. She watches this movie about 4 times a year. I found her Working Girl on the Blu-ray.
I just thought about picking that up. I saw it. My local rental shop is selling off their DVD copy of that.
Well,
I saw what? Harrison Ford and Sigourney Weaver and who's the other one?
Melanie
Meg
Griffith.
Ryan.
Melanie Griffith. Yeah. One of her favorite movies. She watches it all the time. She only had it on DVD before, so I was a hero and found it for her on Blu-ray for $3.99.
Nice.
$4. Was this Deke saying? I work with people who are weasels, just saying. Yeah. I picked this movie up because I think I based it on Duke's recommendation. I know he's a big Ridley Scott fan.
Oh, let me guess. It's not Gladiator. I know you don't like
not
that one.
Gladiator.
Can't be Alien because you already have that.
Of course, yeah.
Ridley Scott. It's not Blade Runner because
No,
you've already
I have
got
that one too.
I imagine.
Yeah.
What else did he do? I know he's done a bunch of movies.
It's a big, long, epic film, I think. I imagine it looks like
movies
it is.
are. I give up. Sci-fi?
Nope. Knights and horses.
Oh gosh, Heaven, Kingdom, something.
Yeah, Kingdom of Heaven.
Kingdom of Heaven. Okay.
Beyond high definition.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's beyond high definition. This one.
Who's in that? Is that like a Christian Bale or an Orlando Bloom or something like that?
I think I see Orlando Bloom's name there underneath the. It was also $3.99. I have to peel the sticker off to see who's in it. I think I see an Orlando though. I don't know. I remember Duke talking about this movie, and Orlando Bloom, Eva Green, and Jeremy Irons.
Okay.
And Liam Neeson has a small role in it. There you
go.
Liam Neeson.
Release the Kraken.
I picked up I, Tonya, a movie about Tonya Harding. This is a great film. Great film with Margot Robbie and what's her name? The one that plays the mom. Oh, well, anyways, it's great. This was a good movie. So for $4.99.
How easy or difficult is it to remove those stickers?
This is there's the plastic here. So the stickers are on the
steel.
Yeah, so this one's this store this is from Giant Tiger, and what they do is they get used products and they shrink wrap them.
Okay.
Again. So this is actually used.
That's nice. It covers it up though, you know.
It kind of is, but they also
you want to see the disc.
You want to look at the disc before you buy it, but they haven't done me wrong yet. But for stickers that are actually on here, they're actually a bit of a pain in the ass. Sometimes they come off all nice in one piece, and then other times you got to take the glue gun and get the worst one.
I'm torn.
Sorry,
if I see a sticker that seems difficult to pull off, I just leave it there because I don't want to wreck the case.
Well, I can't stay, like a lot of times they'll put the sticker and it'll wrap on around on the spine, and I can't stand that when I'm looking at the movies and the.
Yeah, I gotcha.
On the front or on the back, who cares, right? So you only see it when you pull out the movie. But when you're looking at your shelf and you're looking at your movies and you got that stupid sticker there, no thanks. Anyways, the worst one is Talese. That's another used place in Ontario, and Talese has the worst stickers in the world. I picked up a couple of old movies. This one Sarah and I have seen before, Adam's Rib, with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn.
I do not know that one.
Anytime you got Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn together in a movie, you want to watch it. And I believe, so this movie was written by Ruth Gordon. So Ruth Gordon was like a short actress that kind of got famous in the 70s. She was in a movie called Harold and Maude. And then she did so from there she kind of she was known as the woman from Harold and Maude. So she kind of used that. She did Columbo and like those kind of things, Love Boat kind of shows and that.
What's her name?
Ruth Gordon. If you Google her and you see her, you'll know. You'll like, oh, that lady. But Judy Holliday also has a smaller role in this movie. It was a very funny comedic actress who died way before her time. So this is actually a pretty good movie. And this one I've never seen before, Boomtown. But it was $7 and it had Spencer Tracy in it. So what the heck? Why not? Older movies are harder to come by. I found an HD DVD movie, License to Wed, with Robin Williams and John Krasinski and Mandy Moore.
Now, when you buy these HD DVDs, is that the selling point? You just see HD DVD, and no matter what it is.
Well, when I pulled it out, I'm like, oh, an HD DVD, and Frank's like, oh, that movie wasn't that great. I'm like, doesn't matter, it's HD DVD. Who cares?
Are you planning to compile the complete HD DVD set?
No,
and then
because
someday
flip it
for a little fortune.
I did look at that, and I'd have to buy like a lot of Fast and Furious movies and just a lot of movies that I'm really not interested in.
Yeah, well, you see them in a bin for 50 cents.
Yes, then I'd absolutely pick them up. But I think those are a little more coveted. Like, it's not that people want them to watch them on HD DVD, but people just want them to have them in their collection. Like they have like a Fast and the Furious collection, and they want that format in there.
Fast and the Furious collection.
Yeah, like there is like.
What kind of person collects DVDs from a particular film franchise?
I don't know. Collectors, I
Unless
guess.
It's Resident Evil.
This one was funny because my buddy Frank just lent me this movie. He's like, he lent you this movie, and he was looking at movies. Oh, sorry. He was looking at movies, and I came around the corner, and he pulled this movie off the shelf, and it was the movie that he lent me. He just bought it for like $11.99 or something like that on Amazon, and here it was at this store, still sealed for $5. So I got myself Raising Arizona.
Hey,
for $5, still sealed.
Nice.
So that's
I picked that up when when the rental shop was going out of business.
Oh yeah.
So I have a rental Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
This was very entertaining.
I wonder. I don't know. I can't remember if you like this movie or not. I have this on DVD, and I just upgraded it to Blu-ray for $2. The Shallow Hal.
I haven't seen it yet. I do have it, but I watched that. There's something about Mary.
Yes.
First.
Yes.
And I did not enjoy that movie, so I was like, "Oh, Shallow Hal, is this going to be the same kind of humor?"
First of all, we need to dissect Something About Mary. Come on, that's a great movie. This movie's hilarious.
Oh, I did not enjoy it.
I don't know if you'd like this. Then I'm not sure. Well, watch it. I don't think it's very long. It's got to be under 90 minutes.
No, it's closer to 2 hours, isn't it?
No, is it?
I think so.
Well, this movie gets some heat because the whole weight thing and all that.
Body shaming.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought they did okay with it. I mean, I
You
don't
want
know.
to see my copy of Shallow Hal?
Yeah, I do.
All right, hang on.
All right.
I'll actually bring my pickups then. Hang on.
Yeah, why not?
Entertain the people.
What else are we doing here? So I got to tell you, I got this camera. I don't even know what an f-stop is. If anyone knows what an f-stop is, and your name's not Derek, please feel free to message me and let me know, because I'm too lazy to look it up. I think it has to do with stopping Fs. That's my guess. Well, I think I'll just edit this part out. So I really got nothing left to say. I mean, I bought some other things, but I want to show them to Richard. I can't show them to the people who are listening. And there's only 2 people watching them, and one of them's Sarah, so she's already seen this stuff. Wonder how far away that stuff is. Sure is taking his time. Oh, what does Deke have to say? He could be. Come on, show us. Okay, I'll show you. What the heck? So I got. Oh, there he's back now. Wait for him to put on his headphones. There we go.
I have returned.
He has returned.
Okay. I also.
That'd be funny if he just left.
I did bring my Galaxy Quest just so you could see the damage I was talking about.
Oh yeah, okay.
It comes through, but those stupid. Look at it.
Yeah. I hate those things. Yeah.
But it was cheap though, so. Here's my Shallow Hal. It comes in the Pretty in Pink box.
Oh, I see.
And there's a nice little big box cover thing here, and then look at that, pink cases.
That's cool.
So I watched the Something About Mary, but I have not yet watched the Shallow Hal.
Come on. The beans above the Franks.
114 minutes. Told you, it's almost 2 hours.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I don't know. I do find Jack Black to be hysterical in certain roles, so hopefully he pulls me through. Are you still doing pickups, or can I show my things?
I got 2 more.
Okay.
Then I'm done.
All right, go ahead. You do yours.
I don't know. How do you feel about the show Little Britain? Have you ever watched it?
I've never heard of it.
Oh my goodness. You should watch it. It's if you like the British humor, like I know you do, this is up there. This came out around I guess 2003, early 2000s. It's funny because Frank and I have always been at odds with this show. He's not liked it, and I really like it, which is weird because he really likes British humor. He's into Monty Python and the Office and all those kind of shows, but he's never liked this show. And I'm like, oh, Little Britain, like you don't like the show. And he looked at it and he's like, well, I don't mind this guy. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's Matt Lucas. He's like, yeah, he's okay. I've seen him in a few other things. I'm like, you know that there's only 2 guys, right? And he's looking at him, what? I'm like, it's him, and like that's like the same guy, the same character, like the same actor playing 2 different characters. And then that's another actor. There's only 2 guys that they play like all this. It's kind of like Kids in the Hall or Monty Python, but only the 2 of them play all the roles, other than a few things here and there. But anyways, he was like, oh, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong show. So maybe me and Frank, we're going to have a Little Britain watch.
Was that a short-lived series?
I think they only did 2 seasons, and then they tried to bring it over to the United States, and it didn't really work. and
Mhm.
that was it. That was the end of that. Because in Britain you only do unless you're Coronation Street, you only do 2 seasons and then you're done, right? You're out of
Mhm.
there. Or Doctor Who, or I don't know what it is with Britain, but they got like a lot of amazing shows and then they kill them off right away and move on to
I think that's how it is with a lot of Japanese shows too. They seem to
yeah,
do like one season of a show. Maybe if it's super popular, they'll get two. But then, like that's it. The idea of doing like 9 seasons of a show just
yeah.
seems.
Like the British
Uh,
version of The Office, there's only 2 seasons, and then like people were like, "You didn't finish the show," and Ricky Gervais was like, "What? Oh, you didn't finish the show. You didn't finish. There was a love story between two characters that they never concluded, and they never even thought they were like, oh, I guess yeah, I guess we should." So they came back for to do a special just to tie like to finish that story off, but they weren't going to do it because they didn't think it was that important. Meanwhile, it was a
well, I
thing
mean,
that
at
everybody was watching.
the same time, I can appreciate that because then if you know you're doing a short term thing, you go all in. You can put everything out there, and
Yeah,
it doesn't get
yeah,
tired.
yeah. That's true. Yeah.
It's just like
Well,
making a movie, put all the best
speaking
parts in.
speaking of short series from the BBC, I finally have the complete collection of an iconic series that I've probably watched this a bajillion times, but I've never owned it. I've got myself the Faulty Towers
Oh, you've talked about that quite a bit.
for $3 at the
Hey,
Jarrett thrift shop.
nice.
There you go, all 3 discs.
Oh, look at that beautiful DVD packaging.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I've almost had this series like a bunch of times. I had I actually had like someone had it for me, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to give you that Faulty Towers," and then in the meantime, Derek had found me a Faulty Towers, and I'm like,
Hmm.
"Well, I already have it because my other friend, he actually got it for me, so don't worry about it. I don't need Faulty Towers." And then when I saw my friend like months later, I'm like, "Hey, that Faulty Towers." He's like, "Oh, that's right. I was supposed to give that to you. He put it in a he gave it away, whatever." So, anyways, I found it for $3, so I'm good. It's only on DVD, but I'm good.
Right.
So yeah, that's
There is
everything.
absolutely nothing wrong with DVD. I still stand by that.
Well, I mean, if I find the Blu-ray set for $4, I'm not going to stop.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes. I mean, I will go for Blu-ray when it's available, but if
Yeah,
it's not,
like I
the
have.
only thing that bothers me is sometimes if it is both letterboxed and pillar boxed,
Mhm,
when you get
full screen.
the full screen with the widescreen in it, and then you try watching it on a television and you just got like black or all around the edges, just huge border, and you got a tiny little
Yes,
rectangle.
we call that a postage stamp here in this
That
house.
bothers me. I do need to upgrade my copy of Tremors 2 to Blu-ray because the last time I tried watching that happened. I was projecting it. It was like
Uh,
watching this little thing. Like, no, 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 no. I like that movie far too much to subject myself to watching it
I just found
this
the
time.
it was a collection of the first 4 films. On the collection, it said all of the films because when it came out,
All of the
I'm
films.
pretty sure it was all of the
Well, those
films.
are all of the original, with the original producers and
Oh,
writers.
okay, okay.
Because up to
Anyways,
four, it was the creators.
I found yeah, 10. It was $10 anyways,
Mhm.
used, but yeah.
Someday I'll get it. It's not super high on my list. I did recently pick up and watch the 1990 Night of the Living Dead, uh, which stars Tony Todd, directed by Tom Savini. I don't mind this one. It's not as good as the original, but it's also not bad. I can sit down and watch this.
So that's
It's
a remake of the original black and white one when they're inside the house.
Yes, and George Romero wrote this one, so it still has his involvement, but they alter a few things. Instead of the fates of different characters are changed, but ultimately it's the same thing. Starts in the cemetery, Barbara runs to the house, Ben shows up, and then they fight zombies and internal conflicts. That's the best part of the movie. It's just the people arguing with each other and trying to figure out, and nobody really knows what they're doing. And in this version, it's slightly poetic in that the characters' fates come from their faults. Like this one doesn't want to go down here, but then when he actually has to go down there, then he realizes there's something there that would have saved him, and things
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
But not bad. This I am very, very proud of. I found this and I had to watch it. Watched it with my daughter right away. Follow That Bird.
How is that? Does that hold up?
I love this movie. It's so
Really?
good. I hadn't seen it, since I was a kid.
Me too.
But again, apparently I must have watched it a ton of times because every scene that came up was like, yes, I remember this so vividly. I know what's going to happen. I know what he's going to say. I love these old like puppeteering movies, all the Muppets, the original Muppets movies, and Sesame Street, all the puppeteering and the great costumes and everything. I love that it was before they had to super censor everything for kids. So there's like scenes where Big Bird's like jumping off the back of a moving truck, and he does comment on it slightly. He's like, "I shouldn't even be standing here." He's like, "Jump off the truck, Big Bird!" It's great. It's wonderful.
I remember loving it as a kid. I think that was one of those movies that we rented.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to bring it back the next day, but we scammed the rental store by watching it a second time the next morning, kind of thing.
Yeah.
We liked it that much. But I haven't seen it since then. And then
it starts with there's like a big American flag, and Oscar the Grouch is there singing his little grouchy song.
is it like
if you see it, I'm sure you'll remember it.
Was it like the opening to Patton kind of spoof of that, or
kind of? He's just singing about how you should be nasty to everybody, and don't let the nice people spoil your mood. It's your right to complain about things. It's wonderful. It's so good.
The other
Cookie Monster eats cookies and stuff. He doesn't eat vegetables.
The other anecdote I have about that movie is a buddy of mine. This is way back in the VHS days in the 90s. He's a huge Chevy Chase fan. Bigger fan than I am of the Fletch. I actually borrowed all the Fletch books off of him.
Mm-hmm.
But he so he was trying to collect every movie that Chevy Chase has been in on VHS. And so he gave, like, because we would go out thrifting and stuff all the time. And so he gave me a list of one of the movies on the list that he was looking for was Follow That Bird.
Mm-hmm.
I found a couple of movies for him, but I've never found Follow That Bird. I don't even know if it had to have come out on VHS because I remember we rented it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But it was like most people forgot about that movie by the time like the 90s. Like I don't know. It's a really hard movie to find, anyways.
Yeah, because this, like, I have never seen this anywhere before. I never even thought to look for it. So when I saw it, and it's in really, like, nice shape. It looks like somebody bought it, watched it, put it on a shelf, never touched it, and then just, decided to sell it. So when I saw it for, like, $5, yes, no way I'm leaving without Follow That Bird.
Deke said, I paid money to see Fletch at the movies. I'm Chevy. Can I get my $4 back? Come on. Fletch is a great film.
It took me a while to warm up to Fletch. I didn't like it the first time I saw it.
Oh, you guys are killing me here. Fletch is awesome.
Yeah.
Now Fletch lives
lots of cameos in this.
Yeah.
John Candy, Chevy Chase, Dave Thomas, of course, plays a big role in this.
No, right. But Chevy Chase, he's only in the movie for like a second, right? He's not in it for very long, right? Yeah,
he's a newscaster. He's just I think he sings the Mr. Rogers theme song. He says, like, "Won't you be my neighbor?" Something like that.
Of course.
And the pickup I'm very excited for. All these years, I have never had a copy of this. I've never owned it, and I finally got it. The Running Man.
Nice! I got that one too.
This, for whatever reason, is always very, very expensive when I run
Really?
across it. Yeah, like $40 for a used Blu-ray
Wow.
or even the DVD. It's like super expensive. And then this popped up on Amazon for like $10. So like, yes, give me that. It's even the US version.
Yeah, it's very common
It's-
here. I see it all the time.
I imagine a lot of these things are, but certain movies, for whatever reason, are just very difficult. It took me forever to get a copy of Terminator 2 on Blu-ray because same
Really?
thing. I'd see it in the shops and it'd be like seriously like $50, $60
Wow.
used. I'm like, what is going on here?
That's
It happens
insane.
all the time with horror movies. They're always expensive. Um, so like
Yes.
when I got Reanimator, there's another one by Stuart Gordon called From Beyond that I'm interested in seeing, and there's a copy of it in a store nearby, $60.
Yeah, horror films I could see because they only had like limited release. They're very
Limited
niche.
production, right?
You're
But I
right. The
mean, The
people
Running
collect
Man?
them.
Come on.
Yeah, that's like I don't know, very very common here. I see that all the time for
All
less
right.
than $10. But
Yeah, I wish I would run across these things more often.
well, you should come
Uh,
over here and visit. I'll take you to all the places.
I
We'll
would be
thrift.
very happy to. Be
We'll
very happy
thrift.
to. I will even take all the French on the labels.
Hey,
I
if you
don't
could take
care.
Japanese, you could take French.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
uh,
Is that it? Is that everything? Did we talk about
that's
everything?
everything I got.
Yeah.
I don't have
Well,
any more animal stories or RoboCop stories.
well, those were wild stories. They were
Yeah,
wild.
Race the Wilderness. I'll
Okay.
see if I can get a picture of that badger next time he pops out.
Yeah, please do. So he has white stripes on him.
Yeah, it's like on the nose. There's like a little
Yeah.
stripe there.
Yeah. That's not a honey badger. I don't know. I hear those are
I
nasty.
If I get a picture of it, I will let you decide what it is.
They're bad guys in the Banjo Kazooie, not Banjo Kazooie, Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot games. You jump on
No,
badgers, yeah, honey badgers.
oh,
Fun
that's not too bad.
fact: I brought it back to video games. See, we are a video game
Oh,
podcast. There you go.
I actually played a video game recently, and
Did
I
you?
thought I was. It's a game that I played a bunch over the year. Not a bunch, but I've like tried to play many times, and I've just never gotten very far through it.
See you, Deke.
Bye. Thanks for stopping by. I said, you know what? I'm gonna finish Maniac Mansion. I'm gonna
Oh,
get my way through it, and I didn't. I'd
uh,
get a certain way through, and then I'd get stuck, and then like I don't know what to do. I always end up, getting all my kids stuck in the cellar, and they can't get out. And apparently, there's a way to get out, and I kind of read half of the answer on the internet, and I was like, wait, I don't want to read the full answer. So I was trying to figure. I was looking around. I'm always doing things. You got to constantly scroll over every little pixel, trying to find like, is there something
hmm
here I can use? I don't know. Have you ever advanced in that game?
yeah, and I believe it has something to do with the timing of. There's a guy that's in the basement. Like he comes down. You only have a certain amount of time, right? You have to get out of the basement.
I
Uh,
guess. I mean, there's so many different possible endings. Like I've blown up the house. I've gotten trapped. Different things do seem to happen at specific intervals. There'll be like little conversations with the family of the
yeah.
house, and things happen. And when you can ring the doorbell to get the guy to go down, so you can go sneak in his room and things like that. Um, I don't know, but it's also possible to lose the game without realizing it. Like you can misuse an
Yes.
item and
Yeah.
then you don't have it later, and you just don't know that you're
Yeah.
supposed to have saved it. So
Yeah.
I keep running into all those issues because I've never put a lot of time into the game. So I'm still figuring out those, okay, don't waste this, use this, not this. Don't go here yet, do this. And I keep wanting to start the game and then accomplish the basic things that I know you're supposed to do, and then get a save where I can go back to and then just do trial and error until I can get to the next save point.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's another TV series for you to look for. Another obscure Canadian TV series. There was
What's
a live action TV series for Maniac Mansion.
Really?
It's a Canadian TV show. Yeah.
Huh.
Starring Joe Flaherty from SCTV fame.
Joe Flaherty
Yes.
is also in Follow That Bird.
Well, there you go. See, we came full circle.
Can't do any better than that.
All right. Thank you for listening, watching, commenting. We had Deke, we had Rocket Sauce, and we had Sarah. That was it. That's all we needed. It was good.
That's all we need.
Yeah. Didn't need so much distraction. Just enough. All right.
Nice quiet comeback. What was it, like 3 or 4 weeks last time we did this?
It's been 3 weeks. I know. I had a concert to go to last week. I thought it was on Saturday, but it turned out it was on Friday. And then Friday, my mom was here all last week. Which is a whole other thing. But anyways, we're done. We don't have another hour and a half to go. So
Gotcha.
all right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.